Real Estate of Mind, a Farbman Group podcast. Today, we are fortunate enough to have Farbman Group's very own CEO and recent winner of the 50 People to Know in Detroit, Andy Farbman. Welcome, Andy.
Andy, you sound like you're enjoying this way too much.
I'm enjoying it way too much. I think it's exciting. We're going to be giving some information to our clients. That's just a lot of fun, and who better to tell us about real estate than you? So we're going to jump into some questions, and we'll take it from there. So we're starting off with the heavy questions first. First question for you today is, obviously you've been in real estate for quite some time now. What is it that you love most about investing in real estate?
You know, I love the intricacies of a deal. I love the starting of a deal, the flirtation of the side of a teaser that comes across the desk, and the idea of buying an asset and finding value in ways that nobody else can find value. And it's this idea of every single property is like a book, and you have to figure out what makes it tick and whether you can make it, maybe read it in a way that other people can't read it, to properly make sure that story, that future of that office building or industrial building is something that you see, and that you can write a thesis and a story that potentially you see value where nobody else sees value, or you've seen more value. And that to me is the beauty out of all of the components. Is, you know, I guess I'm not an artist, and I'm not a great poet, but when I see an interesting piece of real estate that has something else, has a different future than what it currently is taking, that I get excited about that. And so it's finding value and finding untapped opportunity that nobody else sees.
It sounds like you have a really good passion for that, and candidly, I think it's that passion that helps us provide great returns for our clients, because you're focused on that, and it's the fun part of what you do. So I think it's a wonderful thing for our clients. So Andy, you started your real estate career out on Wall Street, and I'd like it if you could tell us a little bit about your experience and how Wall Street shaped your investment philosophy.
You know, the opportunity to learn from the best and the brightest in the industry, and I really feel like I was lucky to start a career off working for guys that I not only respected as individual and people, but as investors and real estate professionals. It really gave me a foundation, maybe even stronger than a foundation, a strength to grow off of. Something that I always kind of drive back to, which is I need to think about something a little differently, or I need to outlast other people when I'm competing for deals or competing for transactions, and I need to think logically and opportunistically. And so I was blessed, and I worked for some of the finest guys in real estate finance that you could possibly find, and I'm thankful to them, and I'm thankful to the tutoring that they gave. And from a daily basis, I try to pay it forward whenever I'm with young professionals in the industry or guys that work here in our group. I try to pay that forward, so that we really teach people not only to be good at their craft, but to be great professionals.
So Andy, is there a lesson that you've learned through your career? What is the greatest lesson you think you've learned throughout your career?
I've learned two great lessons that I like to draw back on. One of the great lessons I learned is a really simple thing that that no one ever taught me, that I learned through my own acquisitions, was if you buy something, you own it. And it seems so simple. But the reality is that if you buy something, you own it. And it comes with the idea that there's a responsibility, that each building has a responsibility to the community that it's in, that each building has a responsibility to the people that go and use that building or work in that building every day. And you really need to be passionate about the assets that you buy. And so early in my career, I would buy anything that I thought I could buy at a good value. But today, I really focus on assets that I want to own, that I see value in, that I see something where we can make a positive difference in. And just buying an asset cheap or inexpensive isn't necessarily a reason to buy an asset. So that's definitely something that I've learned kind of through the good old-fashioned experience over the years.
So that first Linus lesson was obviously a very good one to learn. What's the second one?
The second one is that the industry is small and we're all connected. And that, unfortunately, I learned in a very early part of my career when I felt like I was wronged by someone, that that I took something a little too personally and responded probably a little too harshly. And I paid for that for years and years to come. And so, throughout, all of this, this journey I call my career, I have learned that you need to continue to treat people with professionalism and realize that, we're all trying to get our job done. And that sometimes we might get heated and sometimes we might be upset and sometimes we might get let down. But it's a small world. And in the commercial real estate world, it's really small. And so I try to treat everybody in the community similar to how I'd want to be treated, like almost like a fraternal relationship.
It's a good lesson to learn. And obviously we've all been there in our careers where we've unintentionally burned a bridge, and that's an unfortunate but good learning experience that you hope you only do once. So Andy, one of the topics that I think you speak best on is capital markets, and my question to you is, what do you see in the next year in terms of capital markets?
So obviously the end of 2016 is bringing some changes, some significant changes to the financial institutions, to the CMBS world, that are dramatic, and they should create in the end better underwriting. They should create more risk retention on the people that create debt instruments. But in the beginning, it's definitely going to be a pause effect on the marketplace. Obviously, the CMBS market is a very important debt instrument in the state of Michigan, in the state of Ohio, in the state of Wisconsin, places that we do lots of business, because the CMBS market provides good non-recourse alternatives to the non-institutional real estate holders, which is the majority of those marketplaces. And so we definitely are going to see a changing that is going to take place. We do believe that the bigger banks are going to be more successful because of that. We do believe that the large CMBS producers will probably eat up the majority of the CMBS market going forward, because they can play by a lot of the rules that some of the smaller guys cannot play by. You also combine this with the fact that 2017 brings the peak of maturities of CMBS paper that are currently out there. And so that's going to create a fairly interesting bottleneck where you've got a demand for lots of refinancing to take place, and you have a shrinking supply of lenders that could potentially place that debt. So I think that that the fourth quarter of 16 and the first quarter of 17 are going to be really, really interesting months to watch what takes place and what transpires in these marketplaces. I believe it probably will continue to play off of the same trends that we've been seeing, which is the really good institutional real estate, or the key corners and the great retail and the great office and the tight new industrial warehousing will price at a premium, and that assets that might fall onto the risk spectrum a little too far could be much could almost hurt them even more because of some of these changes in the capital flows.
All right, thanks. The one thing for our non-real estate listeners, commercial mortgage-backed securities is CMBS. Just a little thing if you haven't seen, I think the movie is The Big Short, which most of America's seen now. So great answer. Thank you for that. All right, Andy, the big questions. Obviously, we're in several markets now, and you have to pick the teams that you back. So big questions for you, Bulls or Pistons?
Well, I mean, that's just a simple question. I mean, I am a Detroiter through and through. I only drive American cars, and I only root for Pistons, Tigers, Wings, Lions. But the tougher thing is watching my kids as they have mixed loyalties. I tried to talk them out of becoming Lions fans because it's just been a very, very treacherous, hopeless life for me as a Lions fan. But my kids, nonetheless, have grabbed onto that spirit of maybe next year.
Join us next time for another wonderful edition of Real Estate of Mind, a Farbman Group podcast.